Alright guys, sorry I can't be with you. We are looking at notes that kind of deal with parallel and perpendicular lines today. As we're walking through things, I encourage you guys just to take notes on your note packet and try to walk through things as I do it. There'll be times in which I will have you guys try certain questions. I do give you the answers, but they are in the next video. So, first thing that we're going to focus on is the idea of parallel and perpendicular lines. And what are they? Well, I do know that parallel lines are two lines that do not intersect each other. And we could talk about the idea of like railroad ties. Railroad ties are not going to intersect each other. Even though if you look at them from a distance, it looks like they will intersect. They won't. Hopefully they won't, or the train would fall. But algebraically, when we look at two parallel lines, they will have the same slope. Whatever the slope of line 1 is, it's going to be the same as the slope as line 2. And next, we would look at the idea of perpendicular lines, and they are two lines that intersect to form a right angle, like you could see right there. These two lines are perpendicular. Well, what do I know about that? Well, I do know that slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. What is a negative reciprocal? Well, I'm taking a fraction, like 3/4. I'm going to flip it. Okay? So I got 4/3. And one of these has to be negative, so because this one is positive, that is -1. So I'm flipping. So like this case, it's 2/1. So I do have something that's 1/2, and then I put a negative in front of it. So it becomes -1/2 is the negative reciprocal. If I look at -7/8, well, I could say it's -8/7. I'm going to put a negative in front of it, which makes that into a positive. So that negative reciprocal is going to be 8/7. Well, if I look at 1, it's going to be 0/1, or 1/1, I'm sorry. And then if I flip it, it's going to become -1/1. So that slope would be -1. Now, if I look at 0, well, I have 0/1, because I could put every value over 1. And then if I flip it, it's going to become 1/0, and it's going to be negative. Well, can I divide anything by 0? No, so this would be considered to be undefined. If I look at something that has a slope of 0, that's a horizontal line. Anything that's undefined is going to be vertical, and we'll look more at that tomorrow. So let's kind of look at a couple examples. What I want to look at is I want to look at AB, and I want to look at CD, and I want to find out what those slopes are. Well, if you guys watched those first couple videos, this slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's how we find out what slope is. So if I find for AB, I'm going to do 6 minus 3, and then 2 minus -2. So it turns out to be 3/4. That's what the slope is. If I look at CD, I'm going to be taking 3 minus 0 and 3 minus -1. So that ends up getting 3/4. Well, what do I know about these two slopes? Looks like they are the same. If they are the same slope, that means they are parallel. So let's look at a couple other ones here. Now we're going to do the same idea. I'm going to look at AB. We're going to take the difference of the y's, 4 minus 2, and then 5 minus 0. So you get 2/5. Then we're going to do the same thing with CD. So we're going to do 3 minus 8 over 3 minus 1. And so if I look at it, I get -5/2. Well, if I look at these two, they are not the same, so they are not parallel. Are they negative reciprocals of each other? Are they reciprocals? Yes. So there's one negative? Yes. So in this case, they would be considered to be perpendicular to each other. They are perpendicular lines. Okay. Do a couple more. So like if I look at AB, we got 6 minus 8, 2 minus -1. So I have 2/3. And then when I look at CD, I got 3 minus 2. And then I got 3 minus -1. Well, if I do 3 minus 2, that's 1. And that's over 4. Are they the same? No. Are they negative reciprocals? No. So this would be neither. There is no relationship between them. They do intersect each other, but they do not intersect each other to form a right angle, so they're not perpendicular. This is the last one that we'll look at here. We got 4, so we're looking at AB. We got 4 minus 3, and then negative 1 minus 2. So I got 1 over negative 3. And then we're going to look at the other one. For CD, I got 6 minus 3, negative 4 minus negative 5. And that turns out to be 3 over 1. Well, they are not the same, but are they negative reciprocals? Well, if I flip 1 over negative 3, I do get 3 over 1. Take away the negative, yes. They are perpendicular to each other. Okay? So what I'm going to ask you guys to do over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to ask you guys to look at these 4 questions. And I'm going to ask you to try them. And once you have them, I'm going to ask you guys to watch the next video.